Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Holman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Holman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we sit down with Kevin Thielen from Kansas Beef Council to talk about global beef demand. And inside Kansas Ag, KDA informs us on the new VFD website, vfdinfo.org, and Kansas Wheat Talks Bread. And in news you need to know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Kansas Wheat Commission. Leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association. Supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. The Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City says a slow but steady rise in financial stress in the farm sector continued in the third quarter of this year. Nearly 30% of bankers reported a significant deterioration in working capital from a year ago, about twice the number at the same time in 2015. Bankers also reported a significant decline in farmland values. The decrease in the third quarter was the sharpest year-over-year reduction in the value of each type of farmland throughout the 10th district since the mid-1980s. The USDA has raised the already record 2016 U.S. corn and soybean production estimates. As of November 1st, corn is seen at 15.2 billion bushels, up 1% from October and 12% higher than 2015. Soybeans are projected at 4.3 billion bushels, 2% above October and 11% more than last year, with an average yield of 52.5 bushels per acre. The Humane Society of the United States scored two big victories over agriculture in this election. An animal rights ballot initiative in Massachusetts, which was backed by HSUS, passed overwhelmingly with 78% of the vote. It not only bans confinement of farm animals in the state, it also prohibits the sale of pork, eggs, or veal from animals raised in confinement in other states. The other big victory for HSUS was the defeat of Right to Farm ballot initiative in Oklahoma. The measure lost by a 60-40 margin. In local news, the Kansas Department of Agriculture is seeking individuals to participate in an agricultural trade mission to AgroFarm Russia. AgroFarm is an international exhibit to be held February 7th through 9th in Moscow and will feature all major aspects of productive animal husbandry. The goal of the mission is to provide an opportunity for Kansas purebred beef cattle producers and allied industry to continue developing relationships in Russia. For more information on the trade mission, including instructions on how to apply, call 785-564-6704. Kansas 2016 corn production is a record forecast at 713 million bushels, up 23% from last year's production, according to USDA's NASS. Area to be harvested for grain at 4.85 million acres is up 24% from a year ago. Sorghum for grain in Kansas is forecasted at 258 million bushels, down 8% from last year. Area for harvest at 2.9 million acres is down 9% from 2015. Soybean production is a record forecast at 192 million bushels, up 30% from last year. Area for harvest at 4 million acres is 4% above 2015. Governor Sam Brownback called for more availability of higher ethanol blends at a fuel station promotion in Garnett. Sandra's Quick Stop celebrated the addition of ethanol blender pumps that allow the station to offer E15, E30, and E85 ethanol fuels to its customers. The station used grant money from the USDA and several Kansas groups to add the new pumps. The grant program that provides assistance to add the pumps is administrated by the Kansas Department of Agriculture. Up next in our Ag Feature, we'll sit down with Kevin Thielen from Kansas Beef Council to talk about global beef demand. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Premier Farm & Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm & Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Thanks for staying with us this morning. We're at the Kansas Beef Council office here in Topeka. We're joined by Kevin Thielen, who's the Executive Director of the Kansas Beef Council. And every year we kind of get together with Kevin and kind of get a state of the state, I guess you might say, when it comes to the Beef Council. And checkoff is something that continues to grow here in the state of Kansas. And you guys are awfully busy this time of the year.
Yeah, we are. And first off, Brian, thanks for coming by. I appreciate always having the chance to talk about some of our activities. And you're right, you know, September, October for us, it's kind of that transition period where we're going from talking about grilling into kind of some family meal times and things like that. And so a lot of the events that we do would correspond to that. We have a registered dietitian on staff, Audrey Monroe, and Audrey did a training for the University of Kansas and also Kansas State University dietetics trainings. And so that went on earlier this year. Charlotte Huseman, who's our culinary expert, did a training at Johnson County Community College about 2 weeks ago, where they brought in 2 different one-day sessions to where basically it was showing KC chefs and other beef kind of specialty folks kind of how to keep beef on the menu. Some new recipe ideas that the checkoff has coming, and that was always really successful. You know, we do that as often as we can because there's a lot of upside for us when we start talking about culinary. That's an area that consumers have a lot of interest in. And then the last thing that I just wanted to mention here quickly, Brian, beef quality assurance continues to be more important for us from an activity standpoint because our consumers are identifying it as more important. They want to know that there's guidelines out there that farmers and ranchers use to raise cattle. And so it's very important from that standpoint. And then also kind of that message of a rancher continuing to improve on their abilities over their production year is very powerful. We use Dr. Dan Thompson to do a lot of those trainings, and you know, Dr. Dan has a great rapport. John Soxie, our industry relations person, is going to be rolling out some of those to FFA chapters across the state of Kansas. And they're going to be doing that on the online format. So a lot of things going on. We could go into more depth, but those are some of the highlights here for you.
Well, when you talk about what consumers want, if you look at the new veterinarian feed directive, that's another step forward of just ensuring or reassuring consumers that what's going on in the beef industry is really putting them and their wants and desires up front.
Well, yeah, the relationship between the producer and the vet, is going to continue to become more important, and so that the VFD, I know Kansas Livestock Association and K-State have done a lot with that, making sure producers are ready for that when that comes the first part of the year. And from our standpoint, from a consumer messaging side, you're right, it is very powerful because people have questions about where their food comes from.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about exports, kind of what's going on. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Thanks for staying with us. We're at the Kansas Beef Council office here in Topeka. We're joined by Kevin Thielen, who's the Executive Director of the Kansas Beef Council. And Kevin, exports, I said this earlier to Justin over at the Kansas Wheat office. Nobody does agriculture better than our farmers and ranchers here in the state of Kansas. And exports are extremely important to us as we continue to grow.
Well, yeah, and being very aware, I know in my small cow herd that I have at home, prices are down. Mm-hmm. And I think exports are going to be very, very important in the next couple of years. Right now, exports account for 14% of our total beef production. We're exporting outside of this country. And, the real thing that you need to remember there is what we do a lot of times is it's products such as livers that are going to Egypt. And I read a stat a while back that, 90% of all livers that we produce, beef livers, go to Egypt. And you think about the importance of some of those markets, but just incredibly important.
I always say hoof to hide.
Hoof to hide, that's right. The market's very efficient. It gets things to where they're the most value, and that's something we have to continue to focus on. From January through July, Brian, exports were down this year, about 10% lower, accounted for $3.45 billion. We think when we get to the end of 2016, we think our exports are actually going to be up for the year. Last year, prices and the value of the dollar and all of those things kind of worked against us, but I think we see moving forward as a real opportunity, and we're trying to focus on that. Our top 5 beef export markets, Japan would be our largest, followed by Mexico, South Korea, Canada, and the Middle East. And so those are the important markets when we start talking about exports. And kind of with the general focus of the importance of those markets, Kansas corn and the Kansas soybean, along with the Kansas Beef Council, we went to the U.S. Meat Export Federation and we targeted South Korea. And we targeted South Korea with basically fresh beef, because what we're seeing is that's a real opportunity. In fact, to this year, South Korea as a market is up 23%. So a lot of opportunity. Korean barbecue is very important. John Soxie and I went and met with a group of South Korean chefs here about 10 days ago. And the low and slow barbecue is the next trend that's coming in Korea. So they're getting a lot of, I'll call them Texas-style barbecues over there. And that's really growing and really taking off. And so a lot of opportunity for us to export over there.
Well, not only that, and I've said this before, and Kevin has probably said it 100 times, we're not the only state in the union that produces beef, but we do it more efficiently than anybody else in the union. So we want to make sure we're getting out and recognizing those open markets and growing those open markets. Anything coming up in the next couple months before we get to the end of the year?
Working on, as we start talking about kind of as consumers' perceptions and those trends all change, Charlotte Huseman's got a lot of holiday roast, some advertising opportunities, and also some cooking classes she's going to be doing in Kansas City. Scott Stebner we just hired Scott, and we're going to be doing a lot more with video. It's amazing. We're focusing on the millennial consumer because they're just coming into having an income and kind of stepping out there, and they're making some buying decisions. So we're really targeting them, and Scott has allowed us to really get out there in that digital front. So.
This January, the new Veterinary Feed Directive rule issued by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration takes effect, and there are new resources available to help you understand how VFD will affect you. I'm Ken Bowers, Public Service Administrator with the Dairy and Feed Safety Program at the Kansas Department of Agriculture. We have collaborated with the Beef Cattle Institute and K-State Research and Extension to provide you with a new website, vfdinfo.org, which includes a wide range of information about VFDs, including a sample VFD form, requirement brochures, and new educational modules. The new modules were developed by BCI at Kansas State University and are specific to producers, feed mill operators, veterinarians, and distributors. Within each module, short videos answer frequently asked questions about inspections, cost, responsibilities, timelines, and more to ease the transition under the new VFD rule. These changes will be significant for the livestock and feed industry, and we are eager to provide as much guidance as possible. Collaboration between these organizations has been valuable as we work to reach all producers, veterinarians, and feed mills. This website, vfdinfo.org, is a great resource as you prepare for the upcoming changes. Please contact us at KDA if you have any questions about what VFDs will mean for you and your business.
November is a great time for pumpkin spice and everything nice, but it's also the perfect time to celebrate National Bread Month. In addition to being the nation's leader in wheat production, Kansas also ranks first in flour milling capacity, both important steps on the road to tasty homemade bread. 1 acre of Kansas wheat can produce 1,800 loaves of whole wheat bread. In 2016, that 1 acre could feed a family of 3 for more than 14 years. Or that same acre could feed 15,390 people for 1 day. In fact, the entirety of the 2016 Kansas wheat harvest could produce over 42 billion loaves of bread, which would feed the entire world population for about 18 days. When you're baking your own warm, tasty loaf made from Kansas wheat, remember that the USDA's Dietary Guidelines for Americans stress the need to make half your grains whole every day, so be sure to add a little variety in the type of the flour you use. Why not develop a recipe during National Bread Month and turn that dough into cold hard cash? Youth and adult entries are being accepted until January 16th of 2017 for the National Festival of Breads. The adult grand champion can even take their delicious hobby to the next level with a trip to King Arthur Flour's Baking Education Center in Vermont. Visit www.nationalfestivalofbreads.com to learn more about the contest.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business, providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The Beef Cattle Institute at Kansas State University has developed a new website to help livestock producers, feed mill operators, veterinarians, and distributors better understand the Veterinary Feed Directive, which will be fully implemented January 1. Videos on www.vfdinfo.org address concerns and questions for each stakeholder segment. A sample VFD form also is available for viewing. BCI created the new website in cooperation with the Kansas Department of Agriculture and Kansas State University Research and Extension. The videos answer questions including what producers need to do to prepare for VFD, drugs covered by the rule, and why a current veterinarian client-patient relationship is necessary. A VFD is a written statement issued by a licensed veterinarian that authorizes the use of a VFD drug or combination VFD drug in or on animal feed. Although a few drugs used in animal agriculture already are subject to VFD, full implementation will substantially change the way antibiotics considered medically important for humans can be used in food-producing animals. As of January 1, it will be illegal to use these medically important antibiotics for production purposes, and animal producers will need to obtain a VFD to use these products for prevention, control, or treatment of a specifically identified disease.
Good morning. I'm Derek Ermish with Paragon Ag. Would now be a good time to buy cattle? I get questions like this from time to time, and my answer is always the same. That depends. It depends on what you can get them bought for, how much your cost of gain is going to be, and what the future price is trading that you can hedge against when it comes time to sell. Figure that out, then you'll have your answer. Now, if you want to wager an opinion on what cattle prices will do in the next 6 months, by all means have an opinion, but don't let that be the most important part in deciding if now is a good time to buy cattle. Funny thing about opinions is, it's human nature to remember the times you had an opinion and ended up being right about it. You do not remember as well the times you had an opinion and ended up being wrong, unless you had some equity riding on that wrong opinion. Then you'll remember. But just as time heals all wounds, you can forget how bad being wrong was once you've collected enough times in your head of being right and not correctly profiting from it. If any of that sounds familiar, congratulations, you're human. It's no coincidence human and humble both start with the same 3 letters. It's best to remain humble and embrace the unpredictability of the markets without worrying too much about right and wrong opinions. That's the start of a good marketing plan. So all that being said, ask yourself, would now be a good time to buy cattle? I'm Derek Kermish. Have a good day.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Kansas Wheat Commission. Leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, that's our show for today. Kansas Ag Report wishes you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.